All right, so I think that this story that you're going to hear, there were a lot of opportunities where I had the opportunity to make a good choice versus like a bad choice. I had good ideas and then bad ideas. For some reason, I just kept going for the really bad idea. So I was outside of Gay Pizza, had been a long day at work, and I bump into this kid that I kind of know. I'm like, hey, I kind of know you. He's like, hey, I kind of know you. Want to ride home? I'm like, sure. Sober. I'm like, I got to ride home. And like we're driving, he's like, yo, I gotta take my drunk friend to her car, because she has to drive home. I'm like, really? That doesn't sound like a very good idea, but whatever. So we end up driving to Bucks County, drop off the drunk girl, follow her home, she gets home safely. I'm like, yo, so you want to take him back to Fishtown? He's like, no, I'm really broke and I can't drive you back, but we can go back to my house. It's kind of a mess, but whatever, it's cool. And I'm like, okay, like, good idea, bad idea, I don't know. So then, like, we go to this, and he's still telling me how broke he is, and then all of a sudden he has, like, light bulb. It's like, light bulb. He's like, oh my god, that car that I crashed last summer, I got $13,000 this morning for that car. Let me go check my ATM. Sure enough, that $13,000 from his insurance company was deposited. So now the kid got money. And he's like, let's go somewhere crazy like New York or DC or like something. And I'm like, sure, why not? It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. So then we end up going back to his house in Bucks County. And when he told me he was a mess, I just thought that maybe like him and his mom were like kind of messy people. Turned out these people were legit hoarders. Their house was full of trash. And he's like, and he also had to break into his house. Why he had to break in, I really don't know. But then, like, he kind of had to hide me on our way up to his house. Now it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, his mom's getting up for work. And she just kept kind of like screaming. And then we go into his room and it's just covered of trash, the floor. Like maybe 40 or 50 empty fountain drinks from Wawa. And like that's like what we're like stepping on. Like there was no floor to walk on. We were walking on trash to his bed that was covered in shelled pistachios. So then like we're laying there and he's like whispering all these like sweet nothings to me, and these sweet nothings included like, I really want you to stick your dick inside of me and pee. And I'm like, I don't even, what? I'm like, what is going, this is a bad idea. But I kept going. Next thing you know, it's 7 a.m., we're still hiding from his mom, and a chauffeur in a limo pulls out to take us to Amtrak in Trenton to go to our getaway in New York City at a Kimpton hotel, which are very expensive, just to let you know. So, we were going on this getaway. The chauffeur of the car is like, what the fuck is going on with these two? I keep complaining of being exhausted because I had yet to sleep and it's like 7 a.m. The kid keeps giving me magic pills, which I knew were Adderall, that he kept like feeding to me, and I'm like, dude, I know what this is. So then the next thing you know, we kind of spend the day together. It took a really long time to go to the pharmacy, which I was really confused about. We're at the Kimpton Hotel and like a $600 per night suite, hanging out. I end up having to go on my own way. And then we meet up at Splash later, which is this gay bar. The other weird thing about Splash was Charo was making like a guest presentation, and I ended up like kind of hanging out with her for a little bit. So then I'm like with Charo at Splash, and then this like kid comes and meets up with me, and he's like fucked up. I have no idea what had transcribed in the past couple of hours, but the kid is like off of his motherfucking rocker. So now, like, here I am. I was in an episode of Hoarders that morning. I'm about to be in an episode of Law & Order SVU. I'm, like, texting my friends. I'm like, yo, if I don't make it back, like, tell my parents I love them. Like, so then the next thing you know, we're at Splash, hanging out with Charo. We go, I'm dancing with some guy from Brooklyn, and the kid gets uber jealous and, like, runs away, leaves. I'm like, okay. I go back to her hotel room. I open the door to our hotel, alone. Kid is naked, fucked up. So now we're in an episode of 2.5 Men with Charlie Sheen. He's yelling at our Asian, like, front desk woman that he can buy her for an hour, and that, yeah, oh yeah, this is not made up. And then he literally begins to, like, physically assault me, like, in the hotel room. Like, dude. And then, like, some guy brought us breakfast, and he starts yelling at him that, like, there's not enough bacon. And I'm like, this is when, like, Mariska Hargitay and Chris Maloney walk in, and I'm like, like, so I peace. I'm about to peace. And then I go downstairs, and the girl at the front desk, fabulous girl, loved her. She's just like, so I don't know, but this kid like bought you your own room. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, he bought you your own suite on like another floor, and now like you can go over. So I'm like, oh, like what? I'm like, I was gonna like just like go like do my own thing like in New York, but I'm like, I have my own room here that this kid paid for. Awesome. So then I go to my own room and I'm like hanging out like sleeping. Next thing you know, I hear the fire alarm pulled. The kid got so off of his rocker that he decided to pull the fire alarm of this Kimpton hotel. And then I like call downstairs and I'm like, yo, is that kid? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, do I have to leave? And she's like, no. I'm like, awesome. So then I say, then about an hour later, I go back to bed, I get a call. I'm like, yeah, your friend pulled it again, so we're gonna kick him out. So I go, I try to help him. The police ended up coming and arresting him. So it was definitely a bad idea on that kid's part. I was okay. I ended up kind of making amends with him and getting him through his whole ordeal. And my best friend, who I haven't seen in a really long time, who was supposed to be out of town that weekend, ended up being in New York City because of her own fluke, took me to see Black Swan, and we had an awesome day together. So, bad idea, bad idea, bad idea. Law and Order, 2.5 Men, Hoarders, good idea.